G'day everybody, Where's Wally here. Hey, I was listening to the Kiwi, Brian, Adam and Nathan comedy show and, well, here's a short clip from the mental midgets of maths trying to sound intelligent after looking at George's derivation of the drop and earth curve. Here, have a listen.
Just want to make it clear to the audience when you say outside, all of these measurements, can you go back to George's slide?
Yes.
I just want to make it 100% clear what he's talking about. George shows it. There's a triangle at the bottom that he's showing that would slip onto the top. See where he's got that triangle at the bottom? I don't know if you can circle that with
down here.
There you go. Yeah, that's if you imagine that sitting on the outside of the sphere for the derivation to take place. It's not being done.
My God! Have you been taking math pills? Like I said to you the other day when you described something beautiful. Have you just spotted that, Nathan?
Yeah. Well, I've watched this video before though. Watch George's video.
Yeah. Well, respect. Well, that's the crux. Yeah. You can see that the line C, the hypotenuse, isn't in the big picture. Hypotenuse, is it? It's Earth curve. Right.
Huh?
I'm honestly, mate, that's wicked.
Line C is not the hypotenuse down here.
Wow, did QE just say that's not a hypotenuse?
Line C is not the hypotenuse down here.
Oh, he did, didn't he? I bet he thought that a triangle can't be upside down. What a numpty.
It is in that right angle triangle in the way that George is going to resolve it.
We're going to have to
Shows you
define
the top.
hypotenuse.
He's showing you at the top, right? See where he's got it drawn out along the top. If you understood the principles and you're using it in, I don't know, statute miles at 69 for a degree, and you're deriving it from light movements, can you still apply this? In other words, if you don't have that right, I think I've already been answered by QE because he was like, no, he had to do it that way to have a right angle triangle. If you had some form of knowledge of 1 degree for every 69 miles, could you put that into the formula and get a derivation without having a 90? Or do you have to have it as QE said?
So it's 60 times 360, whatever that is. Can't do it in top of my head quick. Minus 360 times 60, multiplied by the cosine of the distance times. And the reason I know this decimal is because I bothered to think about it this afternoon. So to express this in nautical miles, it's 0.0166 is the decimal. I didn't.
So you can still do it.
Theoretically, if you were trying to express nautical miles as circumferential distance, yes, where circumferential distance of nautical miles would be 60 nautical miles times 2. Well, 60 times 360 someone. That's what you substitute 39594. So yeah, you can change
21,600.
Yeah, so though that minus that times the cosine of the distance times, yeah, that's what that equals. So, but the decimal would be 0.0166. Because I bothered to work it out this afternoon.
Okay, so this definitely could be put into practical application.
Yes, Nathan, there is a practical application. It's called celestial navigation on a globe. The only celestial navigation that works. You know, the one that no Flurf has been able to do in the last 2 or 3 years. No worked examples yet. What's the matter, guys? Can't you work it out?
Application, but you first got to accept a flat Earth principle.
No, not in the slightest. It had no practical application because there is no Earth curvature to mitigate for.
Oh boy, wasn't Adam Meakin quick to shut down Nathan's mental wanderings? That math pill from earlier must have been still having an effect on his mind.
You can express the units as kilometres, miles, or nautical miles. You want to know that in metres? Ask Nathan Oakley what you do to that number to turn it into meters.
I wouldn't know how to convert it. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. When you talk about your travel across this circumferential distance, which is a straight line distance that you've then presupposed be traversing a circle, which you've, as previously stated, is expressed as a great circle route on a ball. Yeah. So none of that is there in reality. But if you wanted to describe how you've travelled on a ball for that distance and what that would mean in terms of how far you are now below your feet from where you started from with respect to a flat plane, that's what this will give you.
Anyway, they banged on a lot more, too much for this little black duck. Which reminds me, they did mention the Black Swan. And that reminds me that Rachie dropped an excellent video on the Black Swan yesterday, taking the Fed crew to task about that Black Swan and their poorly formed modus tollens. It's well worth a watch, and the link is up here hopefully, and in the description as always. Then I decided to send Rachie a link to my treatment of the Black Swan from 3 years ago. And I figured a lot of my subs have not seen it, so for the next 10 minutes, enjoy. Then I murdered some metal with some tri-flute end mills, and man, these things are sharp, just like Nathan isn't. Thanks guys. G'day everybody, where's Wally here? Today I'm going to have a look at Quantum Eraser. Look, I know he's long and thin, but he is certainly green.
The argument isn't in regards to the oil platforms. This one, or their boat.
I mean, it is so funny that the state of flat Earth is so wanting, so desperate at the moment, that this little piece of, well, frankly, word salad with cucumber dressing has enough science words in it that the average FE attaboy is just lapping it up without actually showing any sort of understanding at all. I mean, in reality, all you guys have here is, even if we debunk nothing at all, it's just a classic, we see a tiny bit too far proof. Well, you haven't broken the globe at all. At the very best, you may be able to say that R is inaccurate. Anyway, no matter. All aboard the FE Titanic. Tie yourselves to your favourite deck chairs, guys, because QE is steering, and let's see where this ends up.
Right? The argument is solely the horizon behind the second platform, which everyone can see. I don't care if there's a Chinese Superman on a hobbled refracted unicorn wearing a tutu on these platforms. Don't care. That's not the argument. If you bring it up, it's a red herring fallacy. That is a diversion or irrelevant.
I mean, look, if he thinks that science runs like he suggests, he's really got no idea. I mean, the fact that he thinks he can tell you what to look at. He's never had peer reviewers look over his scientific papers, has he? And you try telling them what not look at, and that's exactly what they will look at. I mean, QE gave away the whole game right at that moment where he said, no, you can't look at this, just like a 4-year-old caught stealing the cookies. Well, I didn't take the cookies, and you won't find any under my bed. And QE, your modus tollens, it only works on a spherical ball in a vacuum, mate.
Here is the actual argument. Modus tollens. Holy shnikes, this is going to leave a mark.
Gonna hurt, you reckon, QE? Okay, take your best shot. Is that it? Is that all you got? Okay, then.
If P, then Q, not Q, therefore not P. Listen closely to the argument, Globies. If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, P, then every horizon distance measurement must be no more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's Q. That's the geometric horizon.
Now this is the point where he pulls a Pookie cigarette lighter switcheroo. Up to this point, QE is talking about geometric or theoretical horizon, but we would only see this if the atmospheric refraction was 0, which is frankly quite unlikely.
Not Q, because the horizon distance greater than 9.41 miles. Therefore not P. The Earth is not a sphere.
QE keeps getting geometric and apparent confused. I guess it'll take him about 9 months before he realises the mistake he's making. And if you've been watching Blue Marble Science, he's been holding QE's feet to the fire on that point many a times. Well done, mate.
The BALLTARD spinning space monkey community, please allow me to introduce to you your black plague, the Black Swan. There it is. Bye-bye, ball.
And QE, did you not stop to think for a second that what if the ballers flipped this modus tollens around, as in P, flat Earth states that the Earth is literally flat. Then follows Q that the distance to the horizon is very far and we will never see a clear horizon edge. You can see where this is going, can't you? Whoopsie. 8, give him a sop slap, will ya? Well, it's impossible on a flat Earth, you mean? Well, think about it. The apparent horizon is too low and too clear. I guess if you had have watched Miles Davis, you would have already seen that.
Looming, the apparent appearance above the horizon of a distant object that would normally be hidden below it. So guess what? The friggin' horizon doesn't ever loom. Ever, ever, ever.
Well, of course you can raise the apparent horizon. Just check out Harry in Sydney, the Fresh Look at Truth guy. He has a fixed viewing position, and he has some markers that he likes to use at 1 and 3 miles. Now, the apparent horizon does change position, as well as the ships beyond that horizon. So let's have a look at a day with normal atmospherics and compare that to a day with, say, very high refractive conditions. Hey QE, what if I could show you definitively that horizon does change vertical position, or looming? Oopsies, that was easy, barely an inconvenience. There goes the looming proof. So I guess looming is right back in play again, right? Tight. Oh dear QE, that's got to hurt, hasn't it, eh? Look, no matter how much you squeak and carry on, mate, it doesn't change science. Refraction, you can see it on the tower. Everybody sees it, except you want to deny it. Horizon can be loomed up too, hey mate? I mean, the kicker for QE here is that he has gone to absolutely so much effort to remove refraction from out of play that it is just so telling he knows refraction is the one thing that is killing everything he's doing here, because he hasn't allowed for it.
Right? The argument is solely the horizon behind the second platform, which everyone can see.
Which one? Would the real horizon please stand up? I grabbed an image I saw, and with my averted gaze, I saw a few things, like 6 possible horizon candidates. Just fiddling with the light levels, and we can see for ourselves. Look, there's a middle band here is even thicker on the left. Then there's this little black swan. This is by Wolfie6020, the wrecker of all things that you hold dear, guys. Well, a funny thing happened on the way to Hawaii. I suggest you watch it, if you're game. Well, here is the things you're going to see. Wolfie, pilot extraordinaire, is flying over the Pacific. He's at cruising speed and cruising altitude of 41,000 feet. Now, on the instruments, he points out that there's an oncoming plane. That means a plane coming straight towards you, and it's 1,000 feet lower. Then he can show that on the instrumentation. We know the instrumentation works because they don't crash and burn. So he can see that the plane is 20 to 25 nautical miles in front. So if we work with 20 nautical miles and 6,076 feet per nautical mile, that's 121,520 feet. For a 1,000 feet drop, that's a downward angle of 0.47 degrees. So yeah, have a look at this video. So how about we try that with Walter Bisland's Earth Curve calculator? Oh, look how well that matches what we just saw on the video. So the plane is at the top of the column on Walter Bisland's, and look what happens as Wolfie, thanks mate for doing this for me, moves the slider and simulates the plane approaching. And as it approaches, the plane drops below us and the horizon, as it must do. Well, what does this Black Swan show us? It shows us, inarguably, the horizon does not rise to eye level, certainly not when your eye is level at 41,000 feet. It also shows us that the horizon is unaffected by refraction at this height, and it also shows us that Walter Bisland's Earth Curve calculator is once again infallible, matching reality perfectly. Sorry about all this, QE, it's getting a little bit long and complex for you, isn't it, mate?
And this clip was taken a short time later as the sun was rising. Firstly, you can notice the Earth's shadow on the left-hand side. Then I pan to the right and we can see the tip of the sun appearing on the horizon. And through the shade, it is more clearly defined. I then show you that the aircraft is absolutely flying wings level. We don't have any angle of bank. And then that the sun's rays are absolutely angled upwards as they come into the aircraft, and that is confirming that the position of the sun is below horizontal to the aircraft, once again proving that the horizon did not rise to eye level.
Oh, and QE, if you think that this is a limit of vision thing, just have a look at that sun poking over the top of the horizon there too. That's a bit of a slap in the face for you, isn't it? Well, if you like what I've done here, how about you give me a click and subscribe and we can go and chase me around the mulberry bush a little bit more. Thanks, guys. Please note that all slaps given to QE in this video are just metaphorical and are only meant to be slaps to his ideology and his flat earth fantasy. In no way should anyone waste any effort actually on any sort of physical harm on these guys. It's just not worth it. Yeah, I had purposely slowed down the spindle. This is what sounds like if I crank it back up again. Well, that's been a good night murdering metal. Just check it out. I'll stick the vacuum cleaner into it, I think. Well, I just made the focus knob for the 6-inch telescope, and I misjudged the edge and I ended up with a fat edge on it. But actually I don't mind it now, because it gives me, not only does it gives me a bigger knob to hold on, but it does give you a sense of where it is. But of course now this is where the autofocuser is going to, electric focuser is going to sit on there. Yeah, I just need to mark a hole and put a rub screw in it. Oh, Kenny, commiserate with me, please. How the hell does a tap break when it's already 4 millimeters through the hole and I'm just rounding, just smoothing the last little bit off? I use plenty of cutting fluid, plenty of lubrication. I was getting really worried and it finally went through the other side, and then I was getting less worried, and I was just running it a little bit fast. I mean, I did it all by hand, and next thing it went snap. The little crappy blah 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 blah. Anyway, maybe I've got enough I can screw it, keep going right through with it. I don't know. Okay, I finally finished the knob for the SCT6, and that's going to go on the autofocuser, like that. Nice magnetic connection.